And MAC winners Iona picking up and heading to Denver today. The 13-seed Gales will take on the 4-seeded Iowa State Cyclones Thursday, giving them about 48 hours in Colorado to study up and get ready for the opening round of the tourney. And joining us now, former Fordham and Hofstra head coach Tom Pecora to talk all things March Madness. Let's talk about the Seton Hall Pirates. With Isaiah Whitehead, do you think this team could possibly get to the Sweet 16?
No doubt. I mean, Whitehead is a pro, and when you have pros playing against Joes in the NCAA Tournament, there's a big difference. Carrington and Rodriguez, great players as well. That's New York basketball at its highest level, the way those guards play.
All right, and pros against Joes. You got to love that line. Let's talk about the UConn Huskies. Do you see any similarities between this team and the team that won the championship in 2014? I
do, because there's some veteran players there. You know, when you look at UConn this year and you see Miller and Gibbs as fifth-year players, and then coming off the bench you have Calhoun, you have Nolan, fifth-year players. But I think the key is Jalen Adams. As a point guard, he's so much like the great guards in the past for UConn. He can get into the lane like Napier, give the ball up, he can score like Shabazz. I think he's a key for them to move deep into the tournament.
And Coach, what local 13 seed do you see pulling off an upset, Iona or Stony Brook?
Well, I'll tell you what, Stony Brook's a great story, and I'm pulling hard for Stony Brook in their first trip. Jamal Warney is a pro. Watch him play against the Kentucky baseline. But Tim Cluse is the best offensive coach in America, without a doubt. One of them. They've been there before, Iona. I think this is an opportunity for them to make a run, and A.J. English scores like we breathe.
What about Syracuse? How far do you see them going in the tournament?
Well, that's a great matchup early on with Dayton. It's tough for Syracuse. Dayton is a small team, basically plays with 3 1s and 2 4s that can shoot the basketball, so they're going to be able to move around versus the zone. But I think if Syracuse can weather the storm, get through the first one, their zone is great, and Jim Boeheim's the most underrated coach in the country.
And what about those sleeper teams? Who do you see going farther than expected, and also who do you see maybe not going so far that was seeded pretty high?
Well, it's interesting. You know, 2 weeks ago I would have said to you, anyone who's in the Sweet 16 can win the national championship. But in the last week, Kentucky, Michigan State, Kansas, they've all risen, Carolina, to the top of the pack. But in the underdogs, I look at UNCW. Wilmington is a good team. They press all the time. And then I look at a team like Wichita State. They're in the first game this week. They might have the best backcourt in the country. So I think it's going to be an interesting tournament in that way. And there's also 5 and 6 seeds, Arizona, Seton Hall, teams that can make deep runs into the tournament even though they're 5 or 6 seeds.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for your input. A lot to look forward to.
Thank you.